full-time job.
There you go. More voices. I'm getting hot with the volume today. What is up?
Dude, I have my guitar in my car. I should have brought it in here and just fucking...
Yeah, you could just
thought about it. Because I could... actually, I don't have the right cord that plugs into this.
Why not? We don't have a plug that goes in the back? Oh, I guess.
No, but I don't think my cord will plug into it. Maybe it will.
You don't have an XLR cord.
I think I have one at home, though. It'd be cool, though. Just me just strumming.
Strummity-da-dummy. It's funny that you did that because you looked like the dude from I Love You, Man. What is that guy's name?
I couldn't tell you.
I can't even do it. Anyway, all right, talking about home ownership in Maryland. What's up, guys? Mike, Frank, Christian, Olson, two Baltimorons coming at you today, talking about home ownership in Maryland.
And the benefits, or biggest perks.
And the benefits.
Let's kick it off with a good old clippy clip.
A clippity clip.
Tax perks of home ownership. Mortgage interest deduction. You can deduct mortgage payments on up to $750,000 of loan used to acquire, build, or improve your primary residence or a second home. Property tax deductions. Property taxes paid on your primary residence and second home are tax deductible. There is no limit. Capital gains exclusion. Up to $250,000 in capital gains taxes, $500,000 for married couples from selling your primary residence is exempt from capital gains tax if you've lived there 2 of the last 5 years. Home improvements tax credit. You may qualify for tax credits when installing eco-friendly home improvements that increase energy efficiency. Mortgage points deduction. Closing costs like mortgage points paid to reduce an interest rate can be deducted. Requirements may apply.
Bang.
She has some pretty good points.
She's got a lot.
One funny thing that I want to point out, though. Yeah, have you seen that movie? I think it's called I Now Pronounce You Chuck and Larry, where they're firefighters and they get married to help with someone's life.
Yep.
What if someone there's got to be a story of people doing that for capital gains?
I don't know.
There's got to be. For married people, it's $500,000.
That's actually really interesting.
It's $250,000. Shoot, Mike, I'll throw you $50,000. Let's go to the church right now. Let's go to the courthouse.
Thought-provoking. I would need 125. Give me half.
Come on.
Give me half.
All right,
the real problem is that you're only exempting your tax liability. I think her content is really great. Here's the biggest concern that I have. We're not tax advisors.
Yeah.
And so, I'm not going to say that she's wrong. I just know that there's been so many changes over the last, decade to things like mortgage tax, interest deductions, blah, 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 blah. I don't know. And I don't know well enough to really give advice. So what I always tell people is hey, look, this is something that you may be able to do is deduct your mortgage interest from your liability. So let's say you make a $2,000 monthly payment or a $2,700 monthly payment. How much of that monthly payment is interest, right? Is it $200? No, it's probably more like $900 or maybe even more, right? And so if you do that over 12 months, maybe you now have $7,000, $8,000 of interest that you paid. And naysayers, do not sit here and be like, oh, I don't want to pay somebody else's interest. No, it's building equity. It's a part of the process, right? So you pay $8,000 towards interest, and now that's tax deductible. So from your top line revenue, that could be deductions. Now, I don't know enough about it. Don't count on me. Talk to your tax advisor, but that's what that means.
This is the first time I'm hearing of this.
Ever?
I think so.
We need
We need a good tax advisor.
We need to bleep this out. We can't ever do that.
How have you never heard something new every day?
Oh my gosh. All right. So
Maryland homeowners can deduct the interest paid on their mortgage from their taxable income.
Correct. It's interesting. And what it means for new homeowners is actually more impactful than for people that have owned their home for 15 or 20 years. Because for new homeowners, that's the period in time when you're paying the most interest. Yeah. Your first mortgage payment on a $2,700 mortgage is going to be something like $2,100 in interest and $2 in principal.
Probably argue more in interest.
It's probably more. I don't even know. It's a lot.
Yeah.
Right? Your first series of payments is exponentially more than your last payment. Your last payment might be $300 in interest, but $2,700 in principal. That might be your very last payment, 359 payments later.
I'm just going to save up $300,000 cash.
Bang.
And buy a house. How about
Yeah,
that?
you and every cynic in the world. Another thing that we talked a little bit about, she mentioned, was property tax deductions. So you can get deductions from the taxes that you pay to the government. Just to diversify your savings. If you're expending money paying somebody else's bill, that shouldn't be taxable revenue.
Well, another cool thing that I had learned, and I don't know if this just applies to Maryland, maybe it applies all over, but you have an office space in your primary residence.
We're going to get to that. You jumped down. Oh. That's like number 7.
Damn, all right,
Christian,
sorry.
Burning the bridges. We're just going to jump down to home office deduction.
There's one on here that, actually, I don't think it is on
now
here.
You're paying attention. Now you're paying attention.
Now you forced me to read through it because you called me out.
Liv,
I did briefly
read
through it.
He did not brief.
One that's not on here that I want to mention is that I feel like Maryland is very buyer friendly.
We haven't even gotten to number 3 yet, and you're already on the ones that aren't on here.
It was on my mind, bro.
On my mind. All right, we're coming back to buyer friendly.
What if I forgot it and then
remember it? Buyer friendly.
Buyer friendly.
Income tax benefits specifically for homeowners. Things like the homestead tax credit can limit the liability that your taxes can increase. You can also create defrayment through energy efficiency incentives, which is number 6. We're skipping around a little bit. Skibbity.
You're the one that's going fast.
Not the skibbity kid. Skibbity.
Oh, home office deduction. Look at that.
There it is. Capital gains exclusion. Shit. We could talk a little bit more about that, right? So capital gains exclusion. Do you know what this is?
Briefly.
All right. So describe it for the peoples.
Oh, God. How about you describe it for the people, because I'm going to fuck it up.
It's really easy. You bought a house for $300,000. You sold it for how much?
$300,000. Sorry, let's say $350,000. Distress seller.
I'm
here.
literally dying. I'm dying.
We sold it for $350,000.
Okay, so when you sell it for $350,000, you have a $50,000 capital gain, right? Like the gain on the capital value of the property, right?
Okay.
$50,000 capital gain.
Yeah.
So a capital gains exemption would allow you to deduct up to $250,000 for a single married filing singly.
Now this isn't the same. For some reason, when this was brought up, my brain's all over the place today.
Obviously.
I was thinking of a 1031 exchange.
Definitely not.
Yeah, right. So now I'm with you. Capital gains.
Again.
Different.
All right. Peace in my life real quick.
I had caffeine
coming back
early
to this
morning. I feel like I got
all right, so capital
crash.
gains exclusion. For people that don't understand it, it's very simple. You bought a house in 2017 for $280,000. You sell it in 2024 for how much? It's going to be a lot more.
You said you bought it for $280?
Yeah.
You bought it or you're selling it for $480?
Maybe even more than that, right?
500.
Like it could be $500.
Yeah.
So that's a $220,000 capital improvement. And this capital gains exemption would eliminate any tax liability for that $220,000. And then if you're married filing jointly, now you could take that up to $500,000. Now where this...
let's say you don't... Well, whether you take advantage of this exclusion
complicate
or not,
it, please.
When do you pay those? You pay it...
Never.
Okay.
It's not a defrayment. It's an exclusion.
Ah.
So capital gains exclusion, if you were married filing jointly and you bought a property for $770,000 and in 10 years you turned around and sold it for $1.3 million, you have a $530,000 capital gain, right?
Okay.
Pending your expenses, blah, blah, blah.
Okay.
Well, $500,000 of that is exempt from taxes.
So then
you will pay taxes on that $30,000.
When you just go to file your taxes?
Yeah.
Okay.
In that tax year.
Yeah. Okay.
But like, how great is that? You just spent the last 10, 12 years earning this equity, and then you sold your home and you don't have to pay taxes on it? Think about it. If you went to work and you didn't have to pay taxes, that would be the greatest thing ever. We're not talking about people that go to work and don't pay taxes. We're talking about people that don't have to pay taxes. Boom. Capital gains. Huge value for homeowners.
I feel like when people analyze where they want to live or why they want to live there, it's like me trying to figure out what fucking medical insurance I want. Like anytime I sit there and I figure out what package and what means what and what's really going to play out, and I take the number so seriously, it'd be impossible. And that's what my insurance agent told me. She was like, if you read it line for line and try and figure out what's going to be the best thing for you, like it's going to be a nightmare.
Correct.
And I feel like this is the same thing. So if you look at the capital gains, if you look at all the other things that Maryland have, and you try and compare them with every other state, God, that'd be it.
I mean, most of these are national. Okay. Most of these, right? We talked a little bit about energy efficiency incentives, but Maryland is very prolific about this. California, I'm sure, is as well. But if you're replacing your HVAC unit, you can often qualify for credits and incentives through the state. Like when I bought mine, I bought a $12,000 HVAC unit, but I got a $2,000 credit.
Damn.
Yeah, so I got $2,000.
How did you go about that?
It's just a part of the BG&E, Baltimore Gas and Electric, Constellation Energy.
So like you went to their website, filled out a form.
And, you know, I knew about it, so I talked with my contractors about it, but other people may not know about it. You can go onto their website. What I did was I said to my contractor, hey, instead of paying $12,000, can you submit for the credit and I'll pay you $10,000? And they said, yeah. That was pretty cool.
Wow, dude, I'm learning so much today. Live and in action.
Live and in action. Well, delayed, right? Because it's recorded.
They don't know that.
Theo.
They do know that.
He knows.
That is actually really neat. Is it just like, can't just be your AC?
No. Water heater, AC. Sometimes they like, you know, run these incentives. They put them in and they take them away. They'll do things like windows and doors, roofing, insulation is a big one right now. Wow. So if you do insulation, they'll give you a credit back, but you have to follow the guidelines. So it's challenging to utilize the programs, but HVAC and water heater are very, very easy.
That's cool.
Yeah. Home office deduction for those of us that work at home.
Yeah, I jumped the gun on that one. That one's great.
Especially for those people that now work at home post-COVID but did not previously. You should be trying to obtain a home office deduction. Talk to your tax advisor. Now, can you still do
a home office deduction if you're a W-2 employee?
Talk to your tax advisor.
We need a tax advisor.
I believe the answer is yes. Like, I believe that my accountant deducts every year for my home office. It's all based on percentage of the property, blah, 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 right? I don't want to be the person that gives out bad information. So where we watch that Instagram reel, I wouldn't want to be the person that says, this is what you can do. I would rather be the person that says, hey, talk to a tax advisor about your home office deduction. Yeah. It's just the way that I believe.
I don't want to sending the business to them.
Right. Literally. I don't want to be the person that tells you bad information.
Understood.
Now we're going to transition our reasons to buy a home into a couple more pragmatic things. But obviously stability. Who's calling? Was that me?
Maybe it's a tax advisor.
Somebody's calling me. Who's calling me? Anyway, stability and predictability is the number one thing that renting cannot provide you, right? Your landlord can increase rents. They can kick you out of your lease. They can decide to sell the property. When you own the home, you are in 110% control, and ain't nobody going to raise your rent.
Yeah. Well, I mean, jumping back to last week's podcast, talking about the location, the jobs, and the market just here in general, I think that also supports a stable and predictable real estate market.
That is talking about growth and equity, which is the next one.
We should just have one of those what are those web diagrams that just all branches off?
Yeah. Why aren't our blogs web diagrams, Liv, so we could just talk in round circles and clouds? Anyway, so yes, stability and predictability as it relates to jobs and the market that we have here is going to help you build equity. The number one thing that I would tell every single buyer in the entire world is buy the biggest piece of shit you can get your hands on. Sorry for cursing. Don't care. Buy the biggest piece of shit that you can get your hands on, because if you buy something that is awful, not in the community that you really desire, maybe it's less than you were hoping to spend, but it was all you could afford, but it was what you could get your hands on 2, 3, 4 years from now, as the market improves, as the principal gets paid down, as your income improves, you're only creating more opportunity for yourself.
I feel like you don't truly mean the biggest piece of shit. Hey, Mike, I'm going to go buy a $1 home.
I kind of do. I'm not going to lie. Because the opportunity to build equity is there. And truthfully, what I really mean is, for your 18-year-olds that might be out there listening to this, you should buy whatever it is that you could qualify for. If you can only qualify for a $110,000 house and it's in a not so desirable area, I totally get it. That's what you should buy. because in the same amount of time, you're probably going to be paying the same amount of money towards rent as you would be on this property. And the rent is going in the trash, and the money that you're putting towards principal is at least earning you something. And oh, by the way, mortgage interest deduction, capital gains exemption, right? Like it all comes back to center.
Yeah. Yeah.
As it talks about building equity and creating a value for yourself, the next one is quality of life and community.
Maryland offers a high quality of life with its diverse and vibrant communities.
Owning a home allows you to fully immerse yourself in the local community, contributing to neighborhood safety and fostering long-term stability. This is all the content that you can get if you go to our website at frankoliverco.com. Under additional resources, go to the blog. You can find this and so much more.
What's your favorite thing to do in Maryland?
Favorite thing? Work. I know. Nobody likes that answer. It is what it is.
What's your second favorite thing? And it has to be with like something that Maryland offers.
My favorite Maryland thing to do?
I guess.
I
feel like I know your answer.
Oh gosh. My favorite Maryland thing to do?
I'm gonna go ahead and answer for you. I feel like it'd be Orioles games.
I was just gonna say it would be the products and services. So like mine was going to the aquarium, going to the Smithsonian's in DC, going to utilize the national parks like the Baltimore Zoo, the DC Zoo, right? Like I like doing that kind of stuff. So Oriole games, all of that. It's the vibes that the community offers. I do agree.
Do you think when people look at Maryland from the outside, they see do they see it as like a beachy, watery area?
I think people have this like weird belief that we're a waterborne state.
Really?
Like they just think that everyone has a boat and everyone is out on the boat every weekend and they're all talking to each other like this, or they're like, oh, hey, hon, or like whatever they're doing, right? Like they all have this like weird Baltimorean,
pun intended,
thing. I don't really know how to describe it, but yes, I do think that that's what people think of us.
Really?
I haven't even eaten crabs yet this year.
Really?
I don't think so. I don't think so.
I feel like it's a lie.
I also like don't go to the steakhouse and order filet. Like I like to savor it.
Yeah.
I like to save it and
I think
really enjoy it.
The amount of things that you can do in Maryland it's like an endless list. It's so diverse. Like you could be someone that lives out in the country, you could be the person that has a boat, or you could have the city life.
I mean,
and you could be like, hey, hon, you could be like, let's go out. Someone on the boat.
Down the ocean.
Yeah.
Down the ocean, hon.
Yeah. Or like people might think of Maryland as Ocean City.
I think the only thing that people don't think of Maryland as is a skiing state.
Oh, no.
Right? Like, aside from the winter sports, to be honest with you, you've got like all the hiking, climbing, all the rivers, the rafting, the waterborne activities, right? Like you've got crew and rowing and all the things that happen down in the Potomac. You've got the ocean, right?
Horse farms.
The Chesapeake Bay is freaking wild. If you've never been to the Chesapeake Bay, you should schedule probably a whole freaking day and charter a boat and go from south to north. I mean, it'd probably take you all freaking day just to go from one end to the other. Yeah. Like it is so big and it is so diverse and it's so filled with water life and
very
wildlife
as well. Like
it's been here forever, Christian.
Yes, it has.
It's historic.
Go to Calvert Marine Museum, learn a little bit.
There you go. What would your favorite thing to do here in Maryland? And you can't say work.
Concerts. But it's not.
All right, so I'm not a concert goer.
We know this.
All right,
we know this.
But I have been to my fair share of things at Merriweather Post. Aside from Merriweather and like CFG and Raven Stadium and like, where else is there like a venue?
So, Anthem in DC is relatively.
I've been there.
And meanwhile, it's not in Maryland.
Look at me go! I'm like a regular old Maryland concert goer.
You also look at the stadiums that we have here.
Yeah, I already said them. Raven Stadium, CFG,
Oriole
Stadium, Oriole Park.
Nats Park has concerts as well. I saw Chili Peppers there. That was a freaking blast.
Continue.
You have Merriweather. Jiffy Lube Live's not far, but that's Virginia. That's a little bit further out.
That's more like the DMV.
You have the 8x10 in Baltimore, which is a huge local venue.
Yeah.
Right? I haven't been there, but I've heard great things.
I have. How have you not been there?
I just haven't, dude.
Right, background.
There's a lot of dead cover bands that play there, and there's one I think that's coming up.
Are they deceased Or are they Grateful Dead cover bands?
They're Grateful Dead cover bands.
they're dead.
So my favorite.
What
thing
about
is
like
just
Hershey Park? Isn't that like a big thing? Hershey Arena.
That's Pennsylvania, bro.
Yeah, but I'm just saying you're throwing Jiffy Lube live.
That's not as far as Hershey Park. And
Is it? How far is Jiffy Lube live?
From
Is it like an hour and a half
Depends on
from
where
you?
you're driving from.
Me, like an hour and a half.
Yeah, same for me.
How far is Hershey from you?
Probably like 2 hours.
Is it 2 hours?
But I would say, I would count it.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
Yeah.
And then there's have you heard of Ocean's Calling? It's like an
No.
Ocean City music festival now. It's like
Oh, I have heard about it, Jonathan.
he wants to go.
He did want to go. They have who's the dude that's playing Ocean's Calling this year? Jonathan.
He might not be over there.
No, he's literally trying to ignore me.
I feel like Blink 182 is playing there.
It'll be like Darius Rucker. I have no idea. I'm not like
I'll
a
fuck with
music
some Darius
person,
Rucker.
but it's the same weekend as a wedding that we're all in, so we can't go, and they're all mad about it. I do
Reschedule
not
the
care.
wedding.
I do not care.
Have the wedding there.
Wedding is on, right? Another thing that's Maryland, the Preakness.
And there's a concert there too.
Yeah, there's a lot of concerts there. They're mostly like they're electronic concerts.
Yeah, Moonrise is
Moonrise is huge.
that's also at
Autumn Night Lights or something like that is also there. I don't know.
I don't even know what that is. But that's my favorite thing. Like just going to all the different concert venues, checking out bands that come and go. There's
Bang.
Warner Theater in DC. That's a like small, intimate theater venue. It's really nice. I said the anthem
He
already.
did say
yeah.
the anthem. Yeah.
I went to the very first show ever there.
Ever? Who was it?
Foo Fighters. It was so they had a public show, let's call it on Friday, and they had another one on Saturday, and then they opened up like a private show to friends and family, and then they released tickets online on the radio, and I called in and I won. And the anthem holds probably 5,000-6,000 people, you'd say?
6,000 people.
6,000 people. And at that venue and that night that I went for the private show, there's probably less than 1,000.
Performed by the Struts and the Foo Fighters.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been there. I
It's
went
a
in
very nice
2020.
venue. I'm going again.
Oh,
Yeah.
fancy.
Yeah.
930 Club. We didn't think about that.
I
Echo
didn't.
Stage.
Wow,
How do we not
that
bring up
one's
Echo Stage?
very
Christian's
I've
gonna be like,
never-
I've never been to Echo Stage.
I've never.
I've been to more Maryland venues than you. I am a music aficionado.
That's a lie.
It's not.
What's the one in Silver Spring or like Montgomery County?
I've been there
The
too.
Fillmore. I've been to the Fillmore.
I've been there too. I don't remember who I saw, but I could figure it out.
Yeah.
The Fillmore in Silver Spring. I've been
I can't
there.
believe I didn't think that 930.
Bro.
Yeah.
How about the Wrecker in Towson? I'm kidding. Not really. All right. Anyway, so a lot of things going on here in Maryland. Of course, it is the summer. Montgomery County Fair is coming up the 9th to the 17th. And we do have our investor seminar coming up at the end of the month, August 28th. It's down at the bottom of the page.
Guess what?
What?
Maryland's very buyer friendly, bro.
Oh, we'll talk about it more another time. If you guys need to reach me, you can always reach out on Instagram at michael.frank___ or on our website at frankoliverco.com. Christian, how can the peoples reach out to you?
You can find me on Instagram at Christian the Deadhead.
I feel like we could just record that and do that every single week. What's up, guys? Thanks for watching. For more information on the housing market, Real Estate 101, how you can leverage your position in today's market, and so much more, click on the link below. If you like this video or have a burning real estate question you'd like us to answer, leave us a comment and let us know. Don't forget to like and subscribe so you never miss an episode, and we'll see you again real soon.